It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America and around the planet, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. You know, we say a lot that what's going on right now, even Democrats know that it's, you know, the defense of the administration or anybody else is a pile of BS. I want to play this. This is from this week, all right? And this is New York. David Sanger from the New York Times on the audio tape of Biden's conversation with the special counsel and executive privilege. Nobody is saying, you didn't see anybody after they came out with it defending it because you can't. Here's what he had to say about that.
Something that set Trump off is that President Biden formally exerted executive privilege over the audio of his interview with special counsel Robert Hur. The transcript has been released. The audio hasn't.
This was a little bit of a strange decision. If you're going to declare executive privilege, it seems strange to declare it only over the audio, but not over the actual text, which tells people what it was said. Clearly, it was done because they fear that Trump and his allies will use that tape selectively and pick out little bits and pieces. But I haven't quite seen a claim of executive privilege quite like this.
Because it doesn't exist, because there is no executive privilege. That's why. By the way, there's this thing that that Trump may distort it. Well, they may not. This is Biden we're talking about.
Right.
He doesn't need to be edited.
Right.
Well, he actually does need to be edited. You know what I mean? To find the mistakes. The worst thing may be not editing it and playing it in its entirety.
Yeah.
That's a talking point from the White House that he just gave, because that was the talking point from the White House.
Well, no, I mean, that's it. But because why else? You have a transcript. You're okay with the transcript, not the recording. What's the difference between a transcript and a recording? Inflection, pauses, demeanor. All of these things that can be detected. For us, through our elected representatives or, for the American people themselves, to determine whether we believe Biden was telling the truth or whether we believe, as Hur wrote, but he's, no reasonable jury would ever convict him, we could decide that for ourselves and then they came out and stated the obvious. Well, they're going to use it for political purposes. That's exactly what the American people deserve to do. They deserve, because what are the politics of it? Is he competent? And this could be one of those items, a pretty big item, by the way. It's not a small thing. They're not asking him about a parking ticket. They're asking him about a series of events that led him to have those documents, to take those documents home illegally, not as president, but as senator and vice president. And those are the things that the American people deserve to know. And they also deserve to know his demeanor and whether or not there was any kind of display that would demonstrate any cognitive issues. All of those things. It's just becoming very exhausting listening to people. Well, we shouldn't go out there. You absolutely should. When you get on a plane, if you look into the cockpit if you're boarding the plane, you get in there and he's asleep and he looks like he's out of it. Or if he gets on the mic, he goes, we're about to do something. They say we're number 3 in line. I say we're number 1. We're going to cut in front of everybody and just take off when I want. And you know the thing. And if you were to, would you get on that plane if you knew the pilot? This is the guy steering the free world.
one of the worst defenses of the president I heard, and I don't know, I can't remember who said it, but I saw it in the last couple of days. Just popped into my mind now when you brought it up. And it was like, the Republicans need to stop this. That the special counsel did not say that there was cognitive problems that the president had, and therefore he couldn't stand trial. What they said was his memory was bad for an old man, so he couldn't stand trial.
Right.
I went, what the hell's the difference? And I started thinking about, this is what this administration does, like John Kirby the other day. We're not withholding weapons from Israel. We're pausing.
Right. We're just not giving it to them now.
Oh, well,
that's withholding. My gosh. It's just insane.
They say stuff that doesn't change the argument at all.
Right.
While they're indignant that you're not buying the argument that doesn't change the argument at all.
Yeah.
It's like, what the heck? All right. You ready for this? Some fact checking. The president at Morehouse College.
All right.
You and I both wondered about this one, but here we go. All right.
Okay.
All right. Here we go.
I got more Morehouse men in the White House telling me what to do than I know what to do. You all think I'm kidding, don't you? You know I'm not.
All right. How many Morehouse College graduates have ever worked in the Biden administration? 0.
Just exactly 0.
0. No Morehouse College graduates have ever worked in the Biden administration. There was one Morehouse grad that was the former communications director for Kamala Harris, but no one has ever worked in the White House for Morehouse College. I mean, he just panders. I like the one that shows how many, how many different ethnic neighborhoods he grew up in. I forgot. It probably was the RNC that put it together, but it was like,
I saw that.
I'm Italian, I'm Portuguese, I'm Palestinian. I'm like,
Right.
it's just,
Yeah.
I'm like, well, this is getting this. Well, it wasn't as well. Yeah, it was worse. It was worse. And remember when Hillary Clinton would do her tour and she was a fan of whatever baseball team of the town that she was in? Well, look, well, tell us, but who are you really a fan of? Oh, I think she was in Chicago. I'm a fan of the Cubs and the White Sox.
Yeah, right.
Well, you're from New York.
I'm a fan of the
you're
Cub Sox.
Actually from Arkansas. I mean,
Exactly.
what's your baseball team? Whatever will get me elected.
Yeah. It's the Mets Yankees. The Cub Sox. I'm waiting for Biden, to go to pander to women, and say, I am woman, hear me roar. I mean,
it might happen. Possibly.
I mean, he's making every other claim. He's making every other claim.
And then this one was just brutal from the other day. Here we go.
Okay.
Okay, we'll start again. Hang on.
All right.
And when I was vice president, things were kind of bad during the pandemic. And what happened was, Barack said to me, go to Detroit and help fix it.
What? I got to get the calendar out. What?
When he was vice president during COVID.
During COVID, he was vice president.
Barack sent him to Detroit.
To Detroit.
To fix the problem.
Fix which problem?
I have no idea, but he wasn't vice president during COVID.
Is he admitting that COVID started long before 2020? There's the cognitive issue. Here's the problem with someone who is a wholly dishonest person and quite possibly has cognitive issues. He can't keep his lies straight. Now, that's with any pathological liar, that's going to be the case. But then he can't remember which is which, and the timeline gets blurred. And there you have it. He pulls out a lie that would normally just be a Joe Biden lie, but then, of course, it's not only a lie, it's completely way off by years. When I was vice president during the pandemic, and Barack sent me to Detroit to fix the problem. Okay.
And there were just times he just didn't complete a sentence. He just trails off and then moves on to the next thought without completing. It's getting bad right now. And what I like was a headline yesterday. The White House won't confirm or deny that the president will be on performance-enhancing drugs. I'm like, am I in the sports section here? And performance-enhancing drugs during the debate?
Because it would be, here's the thing. They're going to lie anyway.
Yeah.
How do you not come out and say, of course he's not? He might have a cup of coffee before he goes on stage. He might have some water with some electrolytes in it. But this whole rumor of performance-enhancing drugs, look, sometimes his eyes are wide open and he doesn't blink for 3 or 4 days. It's perfectly normal. There's a lot of people that never blink.
And that apparently is from over a year ago. That was, as I mentioned earlier, because we asked a question yesterday, is that legit? Is it AI? It is not AI. Let's see if I can find the audio from CBS that I saw that on earlier, which was like, whoa. He says, no, this actually was for 17 seconds. He didn't blink and his eyes were that wide open. And they were doing the side-by-side yesterday, the squinting Walter-like.
Yeah. And also his brows.
From Jeff Dunham.
Yeah, and his brows, when, he's his on the left side, what we're used to seeing these days, the squinting and everything else, but also his eyebrows are kind of, moving based on his emotion. Well, on the right, his eyes are wide open. He doesn't blink, and his eyebrows barely move. And it's weird looking. It's just weird looking. You ever go to the eye doctor and they dilate your eyes?
Mm-hmm.
They got to have somebody or you're supposed to have somebody drive you home. It's always fun to drive home after that. And it feels weird. It feels like your eyes are wide open. I don't know what you would use. I mean, I have no idea. Is it like an ADHD drug, an Adderall or something, or
I don't know,
something that we haven't even thought of?
I don't know, the thing in the little pill in Limitless.
Yeah, which is based on modafinil. Yeah,
is it really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I had no idea. I didn't.
Yeah,
know
I mean, Hollywood enhanced it. Modafinil isn't that. But I don't think modafinil. I think it would be more like an Adderall. And there's also a little bit. There's another armodafinil, which has a longer half-life. I think is the only difference. But I've heard things about Adderall. The abuse of Adderall. Addicts have talked about that, and how apparently it's just. I mean, it's just a. It's like it's speed. It's like an amphetamine. And is that what you're using? But what's weird was he looked zoned out. His eyes were wide open, but he looked zoned out. But is that what happens with someone who is at his age if you were to give them something that would take a younger person, to the moon and they're kind of bouncing all over the place. Comedian John Mulaney talked about that with his addiction, and some of his past specials. He was hopping around stage a lot. And he goes, I wonder what could have caused that, and made a joke about it in his latest special. But if it's an older person that has cognitive issues or just is slowing down, could it, do what we saw there? With your eyes and they looked glazed over.
Yeah.
They just looked lifeless.
Is pretty freaky.
It was really weird looking.
866-90 Red Eye.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by House Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
This weekend, lots of grills will be going, and unfortunately, lots of people will be getting sick because of any number of grilling goofs. Agriculture Department food safety expert Meredith Carruthers is with us to give us two of the biggest goofs. Yes, outdoor grillers make. Top of the list of goofs.
Not fully cooking the foods on the grill.
That happens a lot because of one thing.
Grilling really makes it look done a lot of times way before it actually is fully done.
And so she says we're asking for trouble if we don't use a food thermometer to get meat and poultry up to a high enough temperature in the center to kill any bacteria in there. Next biggest goof?
Using the same utensil that you use to put all the raw stuff on the grill to take the cooked stuff off.
Or using the same platter on which you took the raw meat and poultry out to the grill to bring the cooked stuff back to be eaten, putting any bacteria from the raw food right back onto the cooked food, right?
Yep.
Yep, and next time we'll tackle a couple of more grilling goofs. Gary Crawford for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Talking about the president over the last couple of days, a number of gaffes that he has that are just brutal. And then the lies that he's been telling, the obvious lies. I mean, the debunked lies over and over again.
Yeah.
We talked about that he said, no water's allowed at voting places in Georgia. That goes back to the Georgia election law where he said the Georgia election law is Jim Crow 2.0. Which is an absolute lie. And he did that. I mean, as we've stated before, that's when, in our minds, he became just like a leader of the KKK or the White Aryan Nations. Mm-hmm. He told a lie to create racial hatred.
Yep.
There was nothing like that at all. Nothing like it. And then he had this to say, too, about we live now in a country that wishes to ban books. Here we go.
In America, we're all created equal. Extremists close the doors of opportunity, strike down affirmative action, attack the values of diversity, equality, and inclusion. I never thought when I was graduating in 1968, as your honoree just was, we talked about, I never thought I'd be a president at a time when there's a national effort to ban books, not to write history, but to erase history. They don't see you in the future of America, but they're wrong.
That's an absolute lie.
Yeah.
From the president, again.
Again, to instill fear and hatred. I mean, this is who he is, though. I saw some comments on a couple of posts over the last couple of weeks, and it seems like, I don't know if these are Biden supporters. I wasn't able to poll these individuals. I didn't ask them, but they were trying to make excuses for him. Like, well, he's just doing this because he's told to do this by the party. He's not really this kind of person. Yeah, he is. I go by someone's behavior.
Well, I have no other choice but to say it because everybody says he's fine.
Yeah.
So, his family says he's fine.
Yep.
The people that work with him say the only problem with Biden is they can't keep up with him because he's the Energizer Bunny. Now, we all know that's a lie.
Yeah.
But until they admit that he has major cognitive and memory problems, it's the only thing that we can go with.
Yep.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio. from the Uniden America Studios.
It's Friday Radio. He's Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thank you for being here. Download our Red Eye Radio app today. You can listen when and where you choose in case you can't listen live overnight. All right, I want to play this audio cut because earlier we had played Bill Maher on with Gutfeld yesterday, and we just said, is friendliness now with Bill Maher over challenging him on the history of his evolution on many different issues, like the radical transgender movement, that he didn't attack at all. In fact, the famous cut that we'd played earlier where he was with Dennis Prager and was laughing. What are you talking about? Men can menstruate. Where'd you get this stuff from? And it's existed over the last 10 years. And this was in 2019, right pre-COVID. And that was absolutely existed at that time, as we know. That whole thing that men can menstruate, and he denied it. And then when he was on with Gutfeld, he said the biggest thing about Trump is that Trump will, what did he call it?
That he won't concede?
Concede.
Yeah.
That he won't concede an election. And
yeah.
It was like, well, so what? Those are words. He had to get out.
Yeah.
And we said, well, Bill Maher's completely wrong that that's the biggest challenge that we face today. Biggest challenge we face, we're seeing right now with the lawfare that we're facing.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest thing we're seeing is an open border when Biden is ensuring that our worst enemies who want us dead are being well funded.
Yeah.
That's a huge problem out there. But really, it's the lawfare. Well, listen to this. This is Anderson Cooper with Bill Maher, okay, as they talk about the fact that, well, if this trial is done and they don't get him, there is no trial that will be done before the election. All right? All right. So here we go.
Can you believe that this is it seems like it's going to be the only trial that will go before the election?
Well, I've been moaning and railing about that on my show because I tore Merrick Garland a new one a couple of weeks ago because I think the Democrats blew it, as they always do with this kind of stuff, because they've had 4 years. What was all the delay about? Why are we coming to the end? Of course they're going to try to run out the clock, and they did.
So his concern is not the lawfare. His concern is that they didn't do it earlier and get all four of them in before the election.
Yeah. Well, and I think, look, here's the problem, is that I think they actually were counting on Alvin Bragg's case being the big one. I think they were actually counting because, you got 34 counts. I think they were counting on this one being the one. Maybe the 1-2 punch. Maybe the New York State AG's case, to take his businesses down and then bring Alvin Bragg in and finish the job.
Oh, I always thought the biggest case that they were looking at would have been the classified documents.
Well, you and I always thought that was the Achilles heel for him, that it had, if there was anyone that he should be concerned about, yeah.
That's falling apart now.
But the problem is that, and very early on, the problem started to become, and the question started to become, how do you move this through the process with the nature of the documents? And that's exactly what they're dealing with right now. And so it's been put on hold, and we don't know when that's going to be taken up. So, but I think they look at the Alvin Bragg case and they look at the Letitia James case and think, okay, look, we're going to go after him in New York. Or it was maybe all the above. Maybe they didn't count on the DOJ being stopped in their tracks by, the nature of the documents case. I don't know. But anytime you're going after, anytime, this has never happened. In something like this, you should expect it's going to take a minute. You look at the cases against him. Look at the cases against Trump. And if you were to say that to me, and I didn't know much about it at all, I would think to myself, well, no, that's going to take years. This entire process is going to take years. Even if he weren't running, it's going to take a while. And there was some thought given to, all right, well, why did Trump decide to get in? Well, that might be, early on especially. Well, this might be his best bet at staying out of jail if they were able to, get that far. And if he can get on the campaign trail. But the fact of the matter is his base was strong going in. His base has built even further since then. And it's coming together just the way that things are right now. There's no other, Bill Maher doesn't see it for the problems that it is. The Alvin Bragg case is a big case of nothing. Yesterday was the big chaotic crescendo, and it was always going to be that because it's nothing but chaos. There is nothing there on the charges. So the judge, Merchan, and Alvin Bragg together have tried to make it work, and they just haven't been able to get it done. I don't know when, by the way, we're supposed to get the judge's decision. I guess it's going to be sometime this morning.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he said
and
we'll get to that in just a moment. But getting back to Bill Maher, the point I want to bring up is the fact that Bill Maher is becoming quite popular now, even in conservative circles, because of his evolution. Understand he didn't always hold the positions that he has held, even though he's trying to convince you that he has. And he has said that he has said it straight out. I haven't changed. The Democratic Party has changed, or liberalism has changed. That isn't true.
No.
And so I don't see what this need is or want, and this is directly at Gutfeld yesterday, of wanting to, keep promoting the fact we can talk, we can be friendly, and then you don't pound him on his inconsistencies or really attack him on the issues. Bill Maher has moved more to the center because the public has, and he wants the audience. It's that simple.
Yeah.
He realizes he cannot defend the insanity of critical race theory, which, again, he has never objected to the identity of politics of going after conservative blacks,
right?
Which was the start of the modern identity politics movement. And also when it comes to the radical transgender movement, we played the cut earlier with Dennis Prager. He was laughing. What are you talking about in 2019? What are you talking about? Men can menstruate. Nobody's talking about that on the left. And that's the whole thing. You discount the things that were actually happening back then because they had not yet been put into effect or policy. And then when they get to policy as they are now and people go, oh, what the heck? You follow with the crowd and go, whoa, what the heck? This is just ridiculous. But the fact is he didn't hold these positions. And there is no reason to, I don't know what it is, have this contrived, we really get along together. No. If you're wrong on the issues, pound them.
Yeah.
I'll pound them and be friendly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But let's not start exaggerating or live in this that, Bill Maher has taken these great strides. No, he has evolved because the public has evolved and he just can't defend it anymore now that reality has come up against positions that he agrees with. And then to say where he totally loses credibility is to say that the biggest issue we face today is Donald Trump saying, well, I'm not going to go along with those election results. Those are simply words. They don't matter.
Yeah.
The Constitution matters. Now, Gutfeld did say that. He left office. He left. That's all that matters.
Right.
Yeah, but he didn't concede. Those are words. So what?
And
let's go on to the lawfare. Let's go on to Russia collusion and how the Democrats lied for 3 years. And where was Bill Maher? Was Bill Maher saying there is no evidence here against Trump?
Right.
I don't remember him on that side. Do you?
No.
And so I hate this fake we all have to get along. No, we don't. You need to be extremely blunt on the positions and the arguments that you can't lose.
Well, I don't
Against
need
him.
to make Bill Maher a bro.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the play here. It also, with Fetterman, there seems to be that, oh, maybe he's not so bad. Look, he's still very liberal. He said that since the whole thing. I agree with him on, I'll say this. He agrees with us when it comes to the radicals after October 7th.
Mm-hmm.
He's pro-Israel. That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing. But do I need to embrace Fetterman?
No.
Well, no.
Trump said that the judge presiding over the case, Judge Merchant, can earn back respect if he rules to dismiss the case. This case should be dropped by the judge. I think the judge, if he did that, could gain the respect back. The appellate court has to step in. Something has to happen. Think of it. The Republican Party, one of two great parties, nominates somebody to be their candidate, and the candidate now has been sitting here for almost 5 weeks in a freezing cold icebox listening to this stuff. Trump said Monday, I think the case is going very well. We have asked for termination of the case. This case should be terminated. This shouldn't go anywhere. It should be terminated right now, and New York State has to build up its system again. New York State cannot let this happen. We cannot let this happen. There were no crimes. We did nothing wrong, and I want to get back to campaigning. I'm representing millions and millions and millions and millions of people. Trump defense attorney Todd Blanche on Monday motion for an order of dismissal, citing that there has been no evidence any of the business records or filings related to the case were false. The case itself focuses on 34 counts of falsifying business records in the first degree. DA Alvin Bragg's office must prove to the jury that not only did Trump falsify the business records related to the payments to Stormy Daniel, but that he did so in furtherance of another crime, conspiracy to promote or prevent an election. Well, since he didn't actually do the business records himself, and since they were done after the election, you lose on all those cases.
Yeah.
But the judge said he would have a decision this morning on that.
Going to be an interesting day. Going to be an interesting day.
It was nuts yesterday. Like I said, the judge losing it, that was mind-boggling when that was going on. He kicked everybody. I mean, they were running to the sets. He's kicking everybody out.
Yeah.
And then Dershowitz. I want to hear the story about Dershowitz. He kicked everybody out, but Dershowitz didn't get kicked out, and Dershowitz heard the back and forth between the judge and Costello.
Right. And Dershowitz seems to be kind of bewildered as to why he wasn't kicked out. I don't know. Maybe Mershon just looks at him, doesn't look at him as a media analyst. He looks at him as a lawyer. I don't know. I don't know why he didn't kick him out. But today will be an incredible day. I, once again, won't get any sleep.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. I just wonder what happens if the judge comes out today and says, okay, it's a directed verdict. It's over with. Man,
You think Lawrence O'Donnell will quit?
I don't know.
I think Keith Olbermann will cry.
That was the dumbest take ever, though. I mean, they're losing it when they're like, well,
he's not stealing.
He said he stole it, but then he said, well, he didn't feel he got the bonus that he wanted to, so he really wasn't stealing. He was trying to fix the unbalance of the situation by stealing.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, oh, my God.
It's stealing.
Like, wow.
It's stealing.
That's how bad this case is.
Well, he was trying to make it a Robin Hood situation. Stealing from the rich to give to the corrupt.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's sort of been, if you think about it, that's sort of been the liberal mindset.
Yeah.
Crime is okay because people only do it because they're in need.
Well, AOC, when all of it started to escalate in New York City, they're only stealing, and it wasn't bread and milk, but she wanted you to believe, oh, they were just doing it to feed their families. No. Remember, they found out that it was an organized thing, and it came down, and it was a few hundred people responsible for a massive amount
like a
of
third,
those
third of the crime, at least.
Yeah, that's just crazy. Oh, they're just trying to feed their families. Right.
Well, we all are.
Yeah.
It's, what are you feeding them?
Right, exactly.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.